Now, what happens when you put together a hunky cowboy with a six-pack who's fully warmed up vocally at 5 a.m. and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, a lyric soprano who plays games but secretly wants to give him her basket, and an old lady churning up more drama than butter on her porch? The first show to perfect the book musical. I'm Nick Abbott, and today I'll be your professor of all things Oklahoma. I'm the loud one in Intermission, and this is the Broadway Study Guide. Welcome to the Broadway Study Guide, a section of the loud one in Intermission where you get the answers to what the hell is a Surrey with a fringe? Or the community theater in town is doing this play. It's old-fashioned, so there won't be any sex or violence. We should take the kids, right? And all the kids in my school keep wearing shirts that say Team Curly or Team Judd, and I'm out of the loop. Well, chicks and ducks and geese better scurry, because I'll answer all these questions and more on today's episode. First, let's talk about why I love Oklahoma. I'm not going to shy away from it, guys. The men are dreamboats. Everyone's rugged and sweaty, and they're grabbing and kissing and pining. The romance is truly heightened by a love triangle and a will they, won't they that makes your verticals like my billionaire step-uncle is a werewolf CEO look like child's play. This story is classic. It's the quintessential book musical, singing, dancing, and acting, all forwarding plot and telling a funny, romantic, and dramatic story. Now, my grandma, Mary Ann, had 2 VHS tapes in her house on the farm in Indiana when I would visit. It was this and Funny Girl. And if you don't think I was out in the cornfield singing, "Oh, what a beautiful morning," you need to spend a little more time with me. I'd make a very, very good case study for nature versus nurture. So, if you were paying attention, I keep saying the words book musical. Book refers to the story and script of a musical, aside from the songs. The book musical is defined by some historians as a piece of theater where song, dance, and acting are incorporated into a well-made story for a dramatic purpose other than laughter. Most classic musicals can be defined this way. And then the Sondheim era came around and other styles of musical storytelling were brought forward. Now, in the 1940s, the dynamic duo of Rodgers and Hammerstein came together for their first big project, based on the play Green Grow the Lilacs. Yes, y'all, the first big Broadway musical was an adaptation. They created a musical that united a country during World War II. Here we go again. And yes, Cher was in that one too. This thing was a love letter to the red, white, and blue. It was 3 hours of America! Troops even got free tickets to the show. It also paved the way for the Broadway musical as we know it today. It was certainly not the first musical ever. Anyone else dying for a revival of The Black Crook? But it is often referred to as the epitome of the book musical trend that ruled Broadway through Fiddler on the Roof. A musical like Hairspray is a modern example of this. It has a clear linear plot. The songs, dance, and acting all work together to forward that plot and tell the story. Without Rodgers and Hammerstein, we wouldn't have classic book musicals like Carrie the Musical or Spider-Man, Turn Off the Dark. So, let's talk Oklahoma, the wholesome classic musical where everyone is horny and packing heat. The show opened on March 31st, 1943 at the St. James Theater on Broadway, aka where Titanic is currently singing 8 shows a week. When it opened, it was a huge hit, but it didn't win a single Tony Award. That's because the Tonys didn't exist yet. They didn't come around until 1947. But the show did win the Pulitzer Prize. It ran for 2,212 performances, which, to put in context, is similar to the current run of Moulin Rouge on Broadway. There were revivals in 1951, 1979, 2002, and 2019. The music is by Richard Rodgers and, yes, you guessed it, Oscar Hammerstein II. Their other musicals together include The King and I, The Sound of Music, South Pacific, Cinderella, and Carousel. All right, settle in, farmers and cowmen. It's time for the plot of Oklahoma. Now, there's this absolute hunk of a cowboy named Curly who's just like riding around on his horse, singing about how beautiful the morning is. This guy either got laid or added a shot of crack to his soy latte because he is excited to be awake at the ass crack of dawn. This old woman named Aunt Eller is just chilling, churning butter on her porch. She'll be important later, but for this act, she's just going to churn butter and watch everyone make absolute fools of themselves. This is my dream role. Park it on my porch and watch hot people make fools of themselves. It's not dissimilar to when I go out in West Hollywood, to be honest. Now, out comes the diamond of the season named Lori. Lori is the it girl in town. Like, everyone wants to hit that because she's blonde, playfully coy. She's the lead soprano in the girls' choir, and she has all of her teeth. So our cowboy friend Curly asked Lori to come to this kiki that they're throwing in town where the girls are auctioning off their baskets. If you win, you get to go third base with the girl who made your lunch. So Curly tells Lori he wants to take her to the kiki in a Waymo. She's like, yeah, right, you can't afford that. And totally disses him. Meanwhile, this beefcake of a farmhand named Judd Fry wants to take Lori to the dance because he's like totally obsessed with her. But he's a peeping Tom and he says weird shit at parties that causes people to relocate. She's kind of into it though because he's got big muscles, and she accepts just to piss Curly off because she likes playing games. And her and I have that in common. Meanwhile, this Oklahomo, Will Parker, just rolled up into town and he thinks he's hot shit because he just got back from doing summer stock in Kansas City. He's all excited because he got a $50 stipend and EMC points while he was there so he could come back and marry Ado Annie. It's like your one friend who spent a week in France and came back and says everything pretentiously. But he spent all his money on the boo-boos and stuff for her because he's an idiot. But while he was on contract posting cute #Women Crush Wednesdays of her, she's been exploring a whole new world with this peddler named Zadie Hakeem. Once upon a time not long ago, Ado was a hoe, and she's admitting it. Ado Annie loves Will, but she doesn't want to give up her ways because her brand is sex positivity, and she's very committed to the brand. All the girls are getting primped and ready for the kiki, and this annoying girl with this stupid laugh that nobody likes named Gertie shows up bragging about how her and Curly are going to the kiki together. Lori tells all her girlfriends that she never wanted Curly that bad anyway, and Gertie can have her sloppy seconds. Now, meanwhile, Ado Annie's dad finds out that she's been fooling around with Zadie Hakeem and forces him to agree to marry his daughter. Curly hears that Lori is going to the kiki with Judd and tries to convince her to go with him. Lori can't because Judd has the crazy eyes and might not take it well if he gets stood up on another Tinder date. Curly wants Lori to go with him to this party so bad that he's going to go talk to Judd. Curly decides to reason with the lonely and depressed Judd by singing a charming little ditty about how awesome it would be for Judd to die so that people will give a shit about him. Judd's left alone listening to his Emo Is Life playlist on Spotify and is just like, nah, bro, I think I'm going to put a ring on it and that'll make everything better. Judd Fry, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen? I know I'm making a nearly 100-year-old musical sound like an episode of Gossip Girl, but it low-key is. I mean, I guess tropes like slut-shaming, the desire to have boys fight over you, and bragging about your pimp mobile are truly timeless. So, dumb Lori, who put herself in this mess because she likes watching boys fight over her, buys some ayahuasca from Daddy Hakeem that apparently will help reveal her true love because she is left with the unbearable choice between Glenn Powell and a guy that smells like he rolls in shit for a living. So she passes out tripping on ayahuasca and has a fierce 15-minute horny ballet dream where her and Curly are dry humping. And then all of a sudden Judd shows up to cock block and is into really kinky BDSM stuff. And then Judd murders Curly. This girl needed to take drugs and have an entire troupe of dancers doing the can-can to get the message through her thick skull. I'd say it's unrealistic, but we all have that one friend that just won't listen. Lori wakes up and realizes she wants Curly, but it's too late because Judd's there to pick her up for the dance in his dad's suit, and she has to go with him. Well, that's just Act 1. Here's intermission. Go get an overpriced cocktail called a Dirty Curly, take a leak, and if you're bored, leave to beat the traffic in your Survey. Now, at the Kiki, the rival gangs, the Cowbloods and the Farm Crips, are dance fighting because they hate each other. And Aunt Eller, remember her, fires a gun because she wants them to get along. #gun control. Sandy gets pissed when she sees Danny dancing with Cha-Cha. Sorry, right intention, wrong show. Meanwhile, Will is selling his Labubu so he can get $50 stipend back so he can buy Ado Annie like livestock. Zadie Hakeem is more than willing to help contribute as he wants to get rid of her. Judd buys a viewfinder with a shiv built into it from an unknowing Will. Will gets his $50 back, but because he's a dumbass, he uses it to buy Ado's lunch basket at the auction. Because Zadie Hakeem really doesn't want to be stuck with Ado, He bids $51 for Will so Will can take Ado Annie off his hands. Everyone wants Laurie's basket, but Judd saved all his coins and is outbidding everyone. Curly sells his horse, his saddle, and his gun just to win Laurie and protect her from Judd, which could have been prevented if she had just said yes to going out with him in the first place. He wins the basket, which just infuriates Judd. Judd's like, come look at my viewfinder, pretty boy, because he wants to kill him with it. But he is foiled thanks to our friend Aunt Eller. After all, she's hosting this event, and nothing ruins a mixer like murder. Judd's just being crazy, handsy, and intense. He's pissed at her for treating him like he's swine, and he threatens her. She's like, you're fired! Pack up your dads and scoot, bitch! Judd's like, you'll rue the day. Which just really freaks Laurie out. She runs to her tan-muscled beau, Curly, who will protect her. Laurie tells Curly about Judd and tells her not to worry and asks her to marry him. She finally does something smart and accepts because he's a hunk. Now, Zaddy Hakeem leaves town and Will and Ado end up together. Curly and Laurie get married, but Judd shows up white girl wasted to the wedding, and they're doing some weird Oklahoman wedding traditions like the Macarena. After Judd forces himself on Laurie, Curly and Judd engage in fisticuff, which results in Judd falling on his knife blade. Judd dies, and they pretend to have a court hearing where they say Curly is innocent, and they all live happily ever after. So, that's Oklahoma for you. A musical that truly says what America was built on. Women can be auctioned like livestock, and stabbing the hired help is acceptable if they have a crush on your girlfriend. Let's talk about the gay icons of Oklahoma the musical. Ado Annie is a hoe who can't say no. If there was a grinder in rural Oklahoma in the 1800s, Miss Thang would be on it, and she'd be paying for premium. Aunt Eller, she's sassy, she's brassy, she's shady, and she's the voice of reason. Gertie, shit stirrer, demon twink energy. Everyone knows one. We keep inviting them out even though they have an obnoxious laugh and start drama every time they show up. Now it's time for homework. Make sure to do your Oklahoma work in the comments. Number 1, who's the most annoying character in Oklahoma and why? Number 2, imagine they made a musical about the state or country you're from. What would it be about? And number 3, are you more farmer or more cowman? And be sure to check out the Loud One Mixtape on Spotify to hear songs from all the musicals I talk about on this channel. Today's songs include Oh What a Beautiful Morning, Can't Say No, and Oklahoma. And last but not least, we end every class with extra credit. I'm Professor Loud One, and this is the Broadway Study Guide.